10 Point Michelle families displaced by Hurricane Maria to enter their new homes in April. A boost in student numbers expected at UWI Open Campus ahead of the first anniversary of Hurricane Maria. And men's national team continue to prepare for CONCACAF Nations League. Hello, I'm Idona John Baptist with the Channel 5 News. Details of these and other stories coming up.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001-275-5003 today.
Welcome back. 10 displaced families of Point Michelle are closer to having their own place as a Barbadian company works to complete a housing project in Union Estate. Government awarded a contract to Preconco Limited of Barbados last November to construct 1,000 houses for people displaced by Hurricane Maria. Preconco Limited designs, manufactures and installs precast and pre-stressed concrete products, which according to the company exceeds international standards. Its first project here in Point Michelle will be completed on April 6, according to Prime Minister Skerrit. Meantime, other displaced residents of Point Michelle are optimistic they can return to their reconstructed homes in time for the hurricane season. A disabled woman, Cortilda White, is one of 2 families still seeking shelter in the building housing the Point Michelle Village Council office. She lives in Green Valley, where 4 residents of that area have been confirmed dead since the September disaster.
I passed the hurricane in the bathroom
Of your house?
of my house, and the whole house fell. So only the bathroom that had remained. That is where me and my 2 grandchildren and my boyfriend and 2 neighbors spend the hurricane.
Do you think that this is an area that you could go back to?
Yes. All now, so the house built back already. They plaster in the house. They plaster in and do other things. And fix inside the house, put water and lights for me to go back in.
That's through government assistance?
Yes, government assistance.
A single man with no dependents made homeless by the hurricane says assistance for him is slow in coming even after being interviewed by field assessors.
I live in a shelter by a friend for the time, since after the hurricane. I'm in a shelter by a friend. So from there I look and see what I get for myself. Do I hear things sharing and nothing coming yet? I put on my name, then make an access, but I still looking and see what is going on. Recently the Red Cross was sharing money, and then people came by me about how much time, and I never get nothing. I do really go, when I hear the up so, people say they have to come with ID and thing. So when I came up so with my ID, then people tell me that I'm not on the system.
He says he is one of those who suffered the most impact where he lives in Chimenef and hopes he can rebuild before the next hurricane season.
It was a long time ago. It was a wooden house, very long time. I made it there, my mother made it there, so I didn't expect for it to stay there because of the pressure of the hurricane. It was, to me, anything that fall down. So the hurricane gave me this sign that it would be fall down. All the houses there, just the roof, but my house just flat down. They say where is life, there is hopes. So I'm not afraid, No, I'm not afraid, man. I believe something good can happen to me one day, man.
So the area where your house was first located, do you feel that you can go back there? Do you think that it's safe to
I would say that, yes. I'm not close to the sea, I'm not close to the ravine. I just up in a little safe place.
In other top stories, newly appointed Chief Elections Officer Ian Anthony says any advancement on issuance of multi-purpose ID cards for voting would have to rely on legislation. Last June, government approved over $6 million EC dollars at the request of the Electoral Commission for the purchase of equipment and hiring and training of personnel for the implementation of the identification card system, as well as the provision of other equipment and staff necessary to aid the process. Ian Anthony, whose appointment as Chief Elections Officer took effect in March, says his office cannot move on that matter unless enabling laws are passed.
The status is that we are still awaiting the legislation that is required. The equipment is on hand. We have not yet done the training, but the equipment is on hand. The key thing, though, is that we need legislation before we can proceed. And so it's an opportune time to remind that the Electoral Commission stands ready to move ahead of the process. However, until and unless we get the legislation that is required, we cannot do much.
The House of Assembly Elections Act and the Registration of Elections Act were revised, and the Electoral Commission had proposed amendments for introduction of the bills to Parliament last year. However, opposition protests forced the Prime Minister to postpone passing of the bills. The Electoral Office is guided by the decisions of the Electoral Commission, which the Chief Elections Officer is responsible to implement. Anthony says the Electoral Office is equipped to initiate the ID card system.
So you have the legislation on one side that speaks to the ID cards, all the requirements, and then you also have a system. System meaning you have hardware and you have software. So that the hardware is already procured, the software is already there. What we need is to do training, but to get to that point, we need to have legislation. Yeah. So in terms of preparation, we can see that we have the hardware on hand. The equipment is there. What we need now is legislation, and once we have that, then we can go ahead.
Training of recruited staff to use the machinery would also have to be done before introduction of cards to the public. However, Anthony could not say whether this will happen for the general election constitutionally due in 2020.
The question for the next general election, that we don't get to decide. Okay. But yes, in essence, you have to, because you don't just introduce a system and don't train anybody in it. Mm-hmm. You have to train people. You have to create the awareness and build the capacity, first of all, in-house with our own staff. And then train, because the plan is to hire a couple young people to go out into the field in terms of the registration. So there's going to be that level of training as well. And all of that forms part of the package of getting to that point of actually having the cards introduced. But again, underscoring that at the top of that list is the legislation.
Employees of the Dominica Hucksters Association are expected to go another 2 months without a job. Andrea Louis tells us more.
The Roseau and Portsmouth buildings of the Hucksters Association were extensively damaged during Hurricane Maria, and as a result, employees have been jobless since the passage of the storm. General Secretary of the Dominica Hucksters Association, Cecil Joseph, disclosed that things are being put in place to have regular operations resume for the association's employees before the end of May.
Well, our staff have been put to much disadvantage. Because of that, we've had to temporarily lay them off, and we hope very soon we will be able to resume, even if we have to put the office in another area close by, so that we can resume business. So we intend to do that within the next 2 months.
Joseph says another major blow to the association was the fact that neither the equipment nor buildings were insured. As a result, no form of compensation was made to the employees, and this lack of insurance is also a setback in the company's rebuilding efforts post-Hurricane Maria.
One of our principal challenges has been that we didn't have insurance for any of the equipment, so we have to buy all of it. And the Huckster business has been we've operated only on the income that we earn. So we haven't had the resource. I wish that we had it, but we haven't had the resource in order to be able to help myself and help the other members of staff. We've not been able to do that. Rather sad, but it's a painful It's painful, and it tells us that when we resume, we need to, that's one of the areas we need to look at, whether we can get some form of insurance or something like that to be able to take care of staff. It's one of the things that we learned.
Regardless of these challenges, Joseph revealed that the association is making some income through the sale of boxes to hucksters.
From September to now, we are using from the 15,000 boxes which we had in store, and so we are using that now. We've been selling boxes both in Roseau and Portsmouth from the month of October. We've been doing that, and at Roseau we have reconstructed the storage shed which holds the containers, which is the wholesale store. But in terms of retail sale of boxes, we are not doing that, but we are using our agents in Wesley and also at Jimit. They are doing the retail sales for us.
The Dominica Hucksters Association, which suffered approximately $500,000 in damage, employs a total of 7 individuals. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
In other news, Dominica's pool of trained educators has grown considerably with the attainment of master's degrees by 24 senior education officials. Minister for Education Peter Seja made the announcement at the launching of the Safe Schools Emergency Preparedness Program on Monday.
Just last week, 24 of our principals and other school leaders were awarded Masters of Science degrees in Management and Educational Leadership from the University of the West Indies. Every one of these individuals was fully funded under the Dominica Education Enhancement Project, the DEEP project.
Seja noted that some of those who have completed the degree program have moved on from their substantive posts of principal and vice principal.
Magali Celestine, now the local CXC registrar. We have Mr. Champion David Earl Maxime, District Education Officer East, and Queen Thomas, Early Childhood Officer. I really wish to congratulate you for this sterling achievement. It is a proud moment for you, but it is also a source of pride for my ministry, because we recognized almost 3 years ago that in order for our schools to provide quality education to students, we needed principals trained to be strong and better leaders.
You are watching Channel 5 News. Government to invest in housing in Grand Forks constituency in a big way. That and more coming up.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Thank you for staying with us. The local branch of the region's premier tertiary level education institution is hoping to realize a significant boost in student numbers ahead of the first anniversary of the passage of Hurricane Maria. Head of UE Open Campus Dominica Branch, Kimon Joseph, explained that though the student population had dwindled due to the hurricane, the numbers are slowly increasing and the institution is expected to have the full cadre of students for the 2018-2019 academic year.
Many of our students had to take leave of absence in semester 1, so we started with 378 students in semester 1, that was in August, and 2 weeks later we only had about 40 students who continued. And the bulk of the student population decided that they would wait until semester 2, which began in January, to see whether they would be in a better position to be able to take classes. 6 months in, we are happy to report that we have 250 students currently who are on island and participating in the courses. Some students transferred sites, some students went to Antigua, and some students went to St. Lucia. And they proposed that they should be back, the majority of them should be back in time for semester 1 of the new academic year that's coming. In terms of face-to-face, that has still done very well. We have just about 120 people in the face-to-face courses that we offer in the afternoons.
The facility sustained almost $1 million in damage, and Joseph says though the structure is covered, a lot more work remains to be done.
We still have quite a bit of work to do on the inside, but we're doing that slowly but surely. In all, we suffered about $750,000 worth of damage. So we are slowly coming back and fixing up the areas that need fixing up. And we anticipate that we should be finished before the start of the new hurricane season. We have also had teams who have come here specifically to look at the river wall. As you know, the river wall behind us has been severely affected both by Erica and by Maria. And so they have come and they have done some feasibility studies and spoken to the relevant personnel in the Ministry of Planning. And so they are working on that.
Due to Hurricane Maria, UWI's Hallmark lecture series will not be held this year. Government is about to make some significant investment in housing for people affected by Hurricane Maria in the Grand Forks constituency.
Prime Minister Skerrit told a town hall meeting in River-Syrique on Friday he's still searching for suitable parcels of land in that community for construction of an apartment complex. The Prime Minister says it's important to note that in most, if not all of the cases, individuals are not able to rebuild their homes without support.
In Monjon, we have a total of about $455,000 just to fix homes. And in River-Syrique, $903,000. That is just to fix homes. I give you the assurance, my friends, that we will assist every one of you on this list who require assistance to fix your homes. The government will provide the monies, and those funds will be transferred to the village council to assist you.
Based on a recommendation by the Ministry of Housing, the Prime Minister has committed to building 20 new homes in River-Syrique as a matter of urgency. 8 single-bedroom, 10 two-bedroom and 2 three-bedroom homes.
The Ministry of Housing has told me, based on the visits here, have identified the most vulnerable people. And we shall start with the elderly. And we will commence some of the single homes immediately after the Easter holidays. So we can put you into homes. And we will build you homes that you will be able to stay in your home during a hurricane. It will be built strong enough with all of the construction and planning codes to ensure that your home is safe.
30 new homes will be constructed in Monjon, 17 single-bedroom, 9 two-bedroom and 4 three-bedroom homes. The Prime Minister said to have developed such advanced plans to rebuild homes just 6 months after Hurricane Maria is truly remarkable. Mr. Skerrit said the level of housing support that Dominica has been able to attract since Maria is because of government's articulated vision to create the world's first climate-resilient nation.
And Inter-Caribbean Airways is taking action to make good on its promise to help improve air access into Dominica, operating non-stop scheduled services between Dominica, St. Lucia and Tortola.
Inter-Caribbean Airways, a passenger airline based in the Turks and Caicos Islands, made its inaugural flight into Dominica last week. It flies to 22 cities in the Caribbean.
On your inaugural flight, you had a little over 20 persons on that flight, which means that persons are able now to connect via Tortola to Dominica and onto St. Lucia. And so yet another gateway is being opened so that we have seats available where persons wishing to get to Dominica can do so, and persons wishing to connect from St. Lucia to Dominica now have an easy access the following day to get to Dominica.
Badwell says increasing traffic helps the airport function better and be able to move more people, which, in his words, justifies the economics of the airport.
We're very, very pleased to be part of Dominica. Today we brought people from several different origins to connect on the flight in Tortola, and it's a it's certainly a validation that Dominica is well received. It's something that people want to get to Dominica, and I can tell you, just before I left to the airport to catch this flight, I picked up the phone to help a gentleman who wanted to book a group of 10 for July. So I took care of that for him before I hopped on the airplane. That's our first group to Dominica, booked today. Thank you very much, Dominica. We're going to be coming visiting more with you. You're going to get to know us a little more fully, but it's a great day for us.
Discussions along those lines were ongoing before Hurricane Maria struck last September. The arrival of Inter-Caribbean Airlines at Douglas Charles Airport means another 180 seats, making up for some of those lost during Hurricane Maria.
Post-Hurricane Maria, this is very important for us because it shows that you are still committed to Dominica. Dominica, as you know, was devastated by Hurricane Maria, but the Ministry of Tourism and Urban Renewal and our stakeholders, Discover Dominica Authority and generally the entire government, has been working very hard to ensure that we can return our visitors to Dominica, and Inter-Caribbean being here is a big part of that. So for us, air access is critical. Air access was critical to us prior to Maria, and we would have lost some of our seats, but we are very happy that with this Inter-Caribbean flight that we can see an addition of about 180 seats in terms of capacity back into Dominica and with connections onward out of Dominica. So we are very grateful. The Ministry of Tourism and Urban Renewal will continue with the partnership with Inter-Caribbean, and we look forward to working with you as we improve our air access into Dominica.
That's news. Kenny Williams is next with the sports highlights.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
First up in sports, a 20-man squad is scheduled to take part in a friendly match against Antigua and Barbuda in Antigua on Sunday. The team includes 5 newcomers: Allington Fritz, Javid George, Scott Hazel, Kasim Peltier, and Rian Coffey. The players will be without the assistance of veteran player Julian Wade, who is unavailable due to injury. College player Giles Mitchell has been called upon to bolster the defense, which also includes veteran player Euclid Bertrand. Glenson Prince, Brian Thomas, Chad Bertrand, and Jeremy Parilo are included in the lineup. In their most recent outing, the national team put on a good performance in the Windward Island Senior Men's Tournament in Grenada to finish second out of 5 nations and undefeated in 4 games. Meantime, national coach Rajesh Lachu said the friendly is good preparation for the team ahead of the CONCACAF Nations League carded for September. He further stated the players have worked hard over the last few weeks and said the game will afford him the opportunity to assess their performance. The full squad reads goalkeepers Glenson Prince and Dion Laurent, defenders Giles Mitchell, Malcolm Joseph, Kasim Peltier, Ajay Arroye, Euclid Bertrand, and Chris Lawrence. Midfielders Kelrick Walters, Nigel Sanderson, Shamaya Dangleben, Allington Fritz, Chad Bertrand, and Brian Thomas. The strikers are Javid George, Scott Hazel, Jamie Parilo, Travis Joseph, Sean Laron, and Rian Coffey. The technical staff reads Rajesh Lachu, head coach, Ellington Sabin, assistant coach, Michael Joseph, manager, Albert Noel, medics personnel, Courtney Challenger, goalkeeper coach, Smith Telemac, fitness trainer, and Reginald Daru, equipment manager. The team will be captained by Glenson Prince and will return on Tuesday, April 3. Next up, after 10 months in office, Dominica Olympic Committee reports the majority of its affiliate associations are taking a more professional approach to sports administration. Previously, President Billy Doctrove was concerned with the direction sports was heading in Dominica and the challenge all and sundry to be the impetus of sports development here.
Some of them are responding very, very positively. Like fencing. Fencing is a very active association now. Relatively new, but they're doing very well. Cycling has really come on board and they have been doing very, very well. They have been having a regular local meets. Fencing again have a regular Saturday morning program, and they also recently sent out 2 of the young athletes to a fencing tournament in Costa Rica. One of them did very well. And boxing had an issue in terms of the administration. We have mandated them, and they have already identified a date to have the general election in early May. So that shows that they themselves recognize. Swimming have been having regular meetings, regular executive meetings over the past 2 months with an aim to re-energize the association. And tennis, table tennis, again we have asked them to do whatever they have to do to ensure that they have a general meeting and elections in early May also. Tennis, previously lawn tennis, but it's called tennis now. Tennis has had an annual general meeting last year, and then they have had training sessions. Then they also preparing to have a fun day, tennis fun day. So many of the associations who were not satisfied with in terms of their activity are showing signs of coming back.
Doctrove says he is especially concerned with basketball. This was one of the sporting disciplines most affected by Hurricane Maria. Back with more football, where President of Dominica Football Association Glenn Etienne says the association is preparing for the Caribbean Football Union Boys Under-14 tournament this year. Etienne reiterated the need for the development of youth at an early age.
CFU has an under-14 tournament this year. We have not zoned the countries, so we are putting an under-14 young players together, boys, so we'll be participating in the under-14 tournament. I think it's a very good tournament also. That gets you prepared for the CONCACAF under-15. So I believe all in all, I think the Dominica Football Association have understand the platform of technical and development stages. That is why, you know, we participate in most of these tournaments, is to build a platform where we can continue and be recognized at the senior level. And I believe that the only way you can do this is to create a platform where you know your players at a very age.
He says DFA is also working on a plan to further develop the sport.
What also we intend to do is to set up some regional technical centers around the island, which is going to benefit football a lot. So instead of, we're going to have maybe one in Roseau, we're going to have in the north, we're going to have in the east of the island, where we will, instead of bringing coaches to that area, we will skill the coaches so that they will take care of the technical centers in this area. And we're talking about at a very early age, grassroots football, and then we bring them to a central location like an elite academy, and we will nurture them and give them the technical aspect of football.
That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
When persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
To end the news, the headlines again. 10 Point Michelle families displaced by Hurricane Maria to enter their new homes in April. A boost in student numbers expected at UWI Open Campus ahead of the first anniversary of Hurricane Maria. And the men's national team continue to prepare for CONCACAF Nations League. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona John Baptist. Thanks for watching. Join us again tomorrow.